What's up, everybody, on this Tuesday evening, Tua Tuesday? And I'm going to get right to the show today, not do a lot of fluff and everything because there's a lot to cover. And as the thumbnail showed, in case you guys didn't see the thumbnail, hopefully you saw the thumbnail, this show will not be for the weak of heart. If you are I'm not going to say anything negative about you, but if you're a to an ear, if you are a left arm of God type person, this might not be the show for you. You might want to go someplace else because you're not going to find any safe harbor here. I'm going to be completely honest, completely objective, and call it like it is. And you know what? I'm not alone. For once, I've begun to see the local media, forget the national media for tonight, forget the Stephen A's and Colin Cowherds of the world. I'm beginning to see the local media go, what the hell is going on here? Something's wrong. I'm actually seeing them begin to say these things. It's ticking off the usuals on Twitter. Some people are like, I don't want to hear this stuff. What are you guys talking about? We're not going to fire Mike McDaniel. Everything's fine. No, it's not. There's nothing fine about what's going on. And people who have an objective, intelligent eyesight and ear to the ground are seeing, hey man, there's a problem. I can't show it because I don't have rights to it, but I did tweet it out. Somebody had sent me a link to someone who's been a strong supporter for a long time, the guy Big O. And I was shocked. Maybe not shocked to see it, but shocked to see that he was actually saying it. Was actually saying, you know what, if Mike McDaniel doesn't win against Buffalo and is one and done in the playoffs, it's time to put him on the hot seat. The big bosses upstairs are going to look at this and go, I don't know if you're the right guy. And I said that a couple of days ago, and the earth blew up because I was telling people there's some huge decisions coming up in the offseason. Huge decisions coming up in the offseason. None bigger than what are you going to do with Tua? Are you going to give Tua $250 or $300 million? At this point, Chris Greer's got to be chewing whatever fingernails he has, basically down to the nub. Yeah, I understand you took his option, so you could probably go through 2025 and not be in too much of an issue, just bring him back. But the pressure is going to be on as to what do you do with Tua if things go the way they've gone in the past. I'm not looking at the past beyond this year, October, September. And are you going to be forced to go ahead and give Tua a big bag when you got a whole lot of holes to fill and some guys may not be coming back? Who knows if Xavier Howard's coming back? Who knows if Bradley Chubb is going to be ready? Still got to pay him. He got hurt. When's Jalen Phillips going to be available? Who are you going to bring in? What kind of offensive line are you going to go out there and buy? Where are you going to find these guys? Are you going to bring in a top-notch tight end? All these questions, and you only got so much in the checkbook. There's only so many checks you can write, and you're going to have to give it. Just understand, if they give Tua a huge bag of $250 or $300 million, what that's going to do in their availability of funds moving forward. But we got plenty of time to talk about that. That's the off-season talk. I'm just bringing it up now because people are beginning to talk. The murmur is out there. Something's really wrong with this team. And it's not from the normal people like myself, or I know people get pissed off at the guy named TD. It's not just us. Now the local media is beginning to go, something don't make sense here. Shit ain't right, man. Not really sure what's going on. So without further ado, and I've got some film, a little bit of a film session, because you notice today, most of the guys who do film breakdowns, they don't do them. Hey, man, I don't even want to see it. But I think it's important for you to look at the film session, just a few plays, just to see what happened, so you can get a good understanding. Because you notice they didn't show it this week. They didn't show it. For whatever reason, we know what the reason is. You know what the reason is, don't you? Yeah. So before we go much further, let me talk to you about, I don't know what the hell that is. let me talk to you about the local media here in South Florida. So everybody knows who Barry Jackson is. And Barry Jackson is the local beat reporter here in South Florida who's been covering the Miami Dolphins and Miami Heat for seemingly ever. Here's a tweet that he put out. And just like I put out a warning, hey, this isn't for the faint of heart. This isn't for the weak. This is what he said. All right. New. A look at how the Bills have gotten the better of the Dolphins personnel in 10 specific areas. A bunch of those 10 better change on Sunday. It better change on Sunday for the Miami Dolphins to win the division. And he puts a warning, a disclaimer on his tweet. Do not look at this if you're feeling queasy. Basically telling the two in ears, hey, don't even look and get pissed off because I'm about to drop some science on you. And Barry Jackson never does that. He never says, look away, avert your eyes. You may not want to see this. So, because it is behind a paywall, let me go ahead and be the one to bring it to you. And here is the actual article. So let me get back to the top as I have highlighted many, many things in this article that could make you probably regurgitate your dinner if you haven't, digested things yet. So here's what he wrote. He says, a look at how Bills have beaten the Dolphins personnel and 10 things that must change on Sunday. And I agree with every single one. So let's get down to the first one. Josh Allen's dominance of the Dolphins. As much as people talk crap about Josh Allen, which they do, he's 9-2 against Miami with a ridiculous 31-5 touchdown pass to interception ratio. His 110 career passing rating against the Miami is his second best among the 23 teams that he has played more than once. He's at 123 against the Rams. His past 4 games against Miami have been sublime. 13 TDs, 2 interceptions, and passing totals of 400, 304, 352, and 320 in his last 4 games at Miami. Those 320 yards came with a 21 for 25 accuracy, 4 touchdowns, perfect 158.3 rating in Buffalo's 48-20 shellacking of Miami on October 1st. What other quarterback just shellacked the Miami Dolphins and had a perfect 158.3 rating? That would be Lamar Jackson. So the 2 best quarterbacks that Miami has faced this year have completely torched Vic Fangio's defense. Completely obliterated. Perfect passer rating. Perfect. As a runner, Allen has rushed 70 times and averaged 8.2 yards per carry. Let me put that in a little perspective. As Devon Achane has been crushing it out there, and he had 100 and something yards against the Ravens, he only averaged 7.9. Josh Allen is averaging more yards per rush than our best running back that was available last week. His highest rushing average against any of the 23 teams that he has faced more than once. That includes 5 TDs rushing. So Allen is responsible for 36 TDs and 5 interceptions against Miami and a 8.2 yards per carry. Do you see that being a problem? You understand why Barry's bringing this up after just watching the beatdown with Baltimore? Yeah, let's continue. This is number 2. The Bills and Allen's ability to consistently exploit Dolphins' inside linebackers in the passing game. And those were the good linebackers. Now you're down to, David Long is there, but you got Duke Riley in there, and we saw what happened to him last week. This has been a recurring nightmare with Buffalo torching Miami by isolating running backs, tight ends, and receivers against Dolphins linebackers. Tight ends. They've got 2. Dawson Knox and what's the other guy's name? Kincaid. Unbelievable tight ends. Just like Baltimore had with Isaiah Likely. They're coming to town. In those 4 games, the Bills have had a 149.6 passer rating, 34 for 40, 390 yards, 5 TDs, no interceptions when targeting Miami's inside linebackers. David Long, Duke Riley, Jerome Baker, and Landon Roberts, who wasn't brought back. We understand that Jerome Baker may be coming back pretty soon, possibly this weekend. But in any event, they've been getting torched. Allen completed all 4 targets against David Long, for 90 yards and a TD in the October 1 blowout. How are you going to fix that? Mike, what are you going to do? You're going to move out the linebacker and put in a defensive back instead? I don't know what you're going to do. Whether the defensive coordinator Vic Fangio allows Jalen Ramsey to shadow Stephon Diggs or not, Ramsey must play better against Buffalo. Ramsey allowed 2 short touchdown passes, 1 yard to Stephon Diggs and 4 yards to Lee Smith when Allen targeted him in the 2020 game. So much for being a shutdown corner. In the Rams-Bills NFL opener last season, Allen hit Gabe Davis on a 26-yard TD against Ramsey to open the scoring and then hit Diggs on a 53-yard pass over the top of Ramsey later in the game. He puts that in there because everyone is like, hey, Ramsey, put him on Diggs. And Vic Fangio is like, I'm not going to let you shadow guys, and especially Stephon Diggs, because Stephon Diggs has eaten you alive, which is only going to compound things because there's no Xavier Howard. So what do you do? Okay. Overall, in that 2022 NFL opening game, Ramsey allowed 5 of 6 passes thrown by Allen in Ramsey's coverage area to be caught for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's even more critical that Ramsey be on his best behavior this coming Sunday. This is from a Miami Dolphins reporter. This funeral dirge that you're hearing here isn't from a Bills reporter telling everyone, hey, listen, what the Bills are going to do to you. This is from a Miami Dolphins beat reporter who loves the Miami Dolphins. Kader Kohou has struggled badly against Buffalo. That's an understatement. The Bills made sure Kohou was on Diggs for much of the October 1st game, and Diggs caught 4 or 5 targets for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns against Kader Kohou that day. Ouch. Fangio must decide, basically the lesser of 2 evils, whether to give Kohou another chance, use Ramsey, or use Eli Applepie, who allowed 74 yards and 4 completions, including a TD to Davis, when playing for Cincinnati against Buffalo in a divisional playoff game last January. Whew, man, it's even hard to read. In his 4 career games against the Bills, Kohou has allowed a 136 passer rating in his coverage area, 22 catches out of 31 targets for 316 yards and 3 TDs and no interceptions. For the first time, Apple played ahead of Kohou last Sunday when Miami used 2 cornerbacks instead of 3 after Xavier Howard exited with a foot injury that's likely to sideline him Sunday. But Fangio has shown no inclination to replace Kohou with Nick Needham as the nickel corner. Why? I can't tell you. I don't know if Vic Fangio has favorites. I don't know what he's seeing in practice. I don't know if Cam Smith is just, oh my God, terrible. I don't know. All right, Diggs and Davis haunting Miami. Diggs has 7 TDs and 15 career games against Miami, tied for the second highest total against any team in the league. He's averaged 13.7 yards on his 46 career catches against Miami, which is 5th highest among the 28 teams that Diggs has faced more than once. Diggs had 114 yards in the January playoff game against Miami and 120 in the October 21 route. Are you seeing this? Are you guys actually understanding? I know a lot of you guys love stats. Well, Barry Jackson is out here just tossing some stats out that I don't think a lot of people have ever dug into. Meanwhile, Gabe Davis, on the other side, has averaged an absurd 17.4 yards on 17 catches and 4 touchdowns against Miami. He has had success historically against Ramsey and Apple. I'm afraid. I read this article and I'm like, I'm actually afraid. I'm terrified that we may see another blowout. After reading this, I didn't know all this myself. Now he's going to go into Tua. Tua struggles against Buffalo. Though he played well in the December game in Buffalo last year, Tua is just 1-5 against the Bills with 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a 79.6 passer rating. Against teams that he has faced more than once. This is really important. Against teams that he's faced more than once, Tua's passer rating is worse only against Tennessee. And we know what happened with Tennessee. Now he's going to talk about the backup offensive linemen struggling against the Bills' pass rushers. I told you this is brutal. Liam Eichenberg must play much better than he did in his NFL debut at center against Buffalo on October 1st. Eichenberg yielded 2 sacks and 5 pressures in that game and allowed a sack to Buffalo when playing guard last season. Guard Lester Cotton, who might be needed Sunday, yielded a sack and 4 pressures in the playoff game last January in Buffalo. And then he's talking about their edge rusher, Greg Russo. The former Miami Hurricane standout has 3.5 sacks against the Dolphins in 4 games, including 2 in the October 1st matchup. Miami has yielded 4 sacks in each of its last 2 games against Buffalo. 4 sacks. Okay, I'm not running out of breath. There's just so much to handle here. Doing a better job against the Bills' safety tandem of Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, each of whom has made a Pro Bowl. So they've got 2 Pro Bowl quality safeties. Poyer has 3 interceptions and 8 passes defended against Miami. Hyde has 2 interceptions, a TD, and a fumble recovery against the Dolphins. Playing better offensively in primetime games. This one just blew me away. In night games under Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins scored 15 in Cincinnati. Tua left that game in the first half with a concussion, as you know. Then they scored 16 against Pittsburgh, 17 against the Chargers, 29 in Buffalo, 24 in New England, 10 against Philadelphia, and 20 against Tennessee. Miami had defensive TDs in the last 2 of those games. That's 18.7 points on 7 night games. Where did you hear 18 points before? Very, very, very not too far away. Where did you hear somebody say, oh, it was me. It was me. It was me who said the Dolphins only average 18 points a game against good teams. And this is not only good teams, but this is night games he's talking about as well. I couldn't believe it. So then he continues to finish this off. Another way of looking at this, Miami hasn't reached 30 points in any of 7 primetime games, but has topped 30 points in 14 of its other 27 games with McDaniel. The Dolphins might need 30 on Sunday night if Allen torments a depleted Dolphins defense. Whew. That is enough to just go, what the hell are we going to do? You can't score. Yeah, Jalen Waddle's not going to be there. Xavier Howard's not going to be there. These guys have been torching your defense. Baltimore just did the exact same thing. And I don't know how they fix this. I know there's a lot of shit talking on Twitter where people talk about the Buffalo Bills stinking and everything else. Where Barry Jackson, one of the most approved reporters here in South Florida, just laid out the case as to why there's a problem here. I don't know how any fan can't go, oh my God, what the hell? And I understand people are fans. You got to support your team. You got to have faith. I never want to tell people not to have their faith and their loyalty and their fandom. But on this show, I try to bring a dose of reality and say, hey, listen, here's what you need to look for. Here's what the problems are with the Miami Dolphins. Here's what the problems are with different parts of the team. So when you're watching the game on Sunday, you can look at, oh, I remember Barry said this. I remember Barry Jackson said this. I remember XYZ person said it. And you understand that just don't sit there and clap like a seal and raise the pom-poms when you can actually understand there's some problems here. So I'm going to do one more story before I start taking comments. This one, let's see, where is it here? Let me see if I can find it. All right, so Adam Beasley, who's another reporter, he had tweeted this before New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve. He said the Dolphins defense it was New Year's Eve. The Dolphins defense has allowed 117 points in the 8 games since Jalen Ramsey has played. But sure, they're going to allow 42 on Sunday. So Keyshawn Johnson had said, as well as Skip Bayless, that Miami's going to get blown out. They're going to give up 40 points plus to the Baltimore Ravens. And Adam Beasley said, it's ridiculous, man. You don't know what you're talking about, Keyshawn. I know, you were a pro receiver. I know you got some inside info, but just shut up. We've only given up 117 points. So I sent this to Adam Beasley. I'm like, Has anyone checked on, you've apologized at all? And so what he did, he came right back to me and said, thanks for reading. And he sent this article to me. I was like, stand-up guy. Let me see what you have to say, because you sounded cocky as hell. And Adam, if you just want to see his cred, he's a senior NFL reporter, director of tentpole events for Pro Football Network, Miami Herald alum. Okay, worked with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I'm expecting when I get this link that this guy wrote something completely flowery, that it just says, don't worry about it, everything is going to rebound, everything is going to be fine. Boom. Sort of like I said, right? There's only one way forward for the Miami Dolphins. One singular way forward. After the Miami Dolphins defense failed to deliver against the Baltimore Ravens, it's all on Tua to carry the team the rest of the way. And I've seen comments from people, no, it's just one guy. It can't just be on Tua's shoulder. Barry, you said that Tua had to have a moment like Michael Jordan during the flu game, and you said he had to be like Kobe and score 81, and you had to be like Joe Montana to Dwight Clark and Tom Brady, and blah, 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 blah. And you know, it's not fair. This is another South Florida beat reporter who's like, hey, man, it's time. It's time for the left arm of God to show he's the left arm of little g God. Because everybody is beginning to see this now. I was shocked when he gave this to me. So this was his tweet when he was, bitching at, Keyshawn Johnson. And it says, the Miami Dolphins defense proved that they cannot be counted upon to win the biggest games for this team. Not after 56 points, 491 yards, and 24 first downs that they allowed in the Sunday beatdown. The Dolphins' defense is built around pass rush and coverage. Sunday's double whammy weakened both significantly. So there will be a drop-off. Won't be that much of a pass rush. I just don't see it happening. And a potentially significant one from the Dolphins' defense at the season's most important time, which means the offense in general and Tua Tagovailoa in particular need to step up. And I'm sitting here reading these stuff from Barry Jackson and hear Adam Beasley going, oh my God, how did these guys all of a sudden start echoing what I've been saying for months? You guys who have watched my stuff know I've been saying this for months. People have been bitching at me, flaming me, disliking video. Barry, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you have no idea. This team is doing great. And now all of a sudden you got people ringing the bell going, oh shit, what the hell do we do? Tua Tagovailoa must carry the Miami Dolphins. Tua wasn't nearly good enough Sunday. His completion percentage of 57.9, yards per attempt 6.2, and passer rating 71.9 were all well off his season average. Duh, wonder why. Played a good team. His two bad picks didn't alone lose the game, but they also certainly didn't help. With Jalen Waddle, I love this sentence. Check out this dig. With Jalen Waddle unable to play and Tyreek Hill apparently unable to play well, Sunday was a disaster. The Miami media has had it. No more excuses. What the hell are you guys doing out there? And it goes, sore shoulder or not, don't want to hear the excuse. That level of play can't continue for Tua, or the Dolphins won't win another game. Not me. Here's another guy saying it. It ain't gonna happen. You either got to come out there and ball out and be Brady and all, Joe Montana and Kobe with two down by one with 2 to go, and play the Michael Jordan game, the flu game. You have to be that man. Tua acknowledged post-game that the Dolphins pressed. No, the Dolphins didn't press. Tua pressed when things got tough. Quote, that's exactly what we didn't need to do. We didn't need to press. And I say we as in me. So why didn't you just say me? Why did you talk in the third person? Should have said, I did exactly what I didn't need to do. I didn't need to press. Own up. Take it. Take responsibility. I didn't need to press and force throws down the field that weren't there with certain looks. I should have taken the checkdowns. Yeah, I've got to be better. We're talking about an NFL quarterback who has already played, 16 games of this season, who is now saying in public, yeah, I should have done that. I got to do better. What? What? It's the Dolphins' hope in an increasingly bleak limp to the finish. Miami has a decision to make this offseason, how much to offer Tua long term. That decision still might be pending in how this final stretch plays out. All right, so I'm going to take some comments, but you've just seen two of Miami's top reporters who cover the team. And right now, they are setting up a flare. And they're saying straight up, this shit is broken. There is something wrong. We can't pay Tua this kind of money. He's not the guy right now. He's still looking to see what he needs to do. Sound familiar? Sound like somebody who's been saying it for months when other people were throwing darts at me for saying it? Barry, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you're a hater. You're a hater. You got haterade. And now what do you say about Adam Beasley and Barry Jackson and others who are starting to see it, and they see it come to fruition, and they saw it themselves? I'm just telling you, Big O on his show, hey, something you can't look away from, can't avert your eyes. People are seeing it front and center. Oh, but Barry, he's thrown for 4,800 yards, and he's the number one passer in the league, and blah 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 blah. Bullshit. You got to win. You got to win. You cannot throw for all these yards against crappy teams and then get your ass reamed by the good teams. So I know that was a little bit windy. Went for a while there. By the way, this is where I had actually written that 18 points, because when he had said dominate in that video, dominate right there, I'm like, is he serious? The Buffalo Bills just scored 20. The Eagles just scored 17. The Chiefs just scored 14. Cowboys just scored 20, and the Ravens just scored 19. The Miami Dolphins' high-powered offense is 1-4 against playoff-caliber teams and averaging 18 points a game. I said it. People didn't want to hear it. So it's funny because when I do this, I can't see the screen with the comments, so I can only imagine. Let me see how bad I'm getting beat up here. First one I get to is Brian Barry, you were spot on with Tua, needs to be a better leader. Last year he was in witness protection. This year he sulks on the bench by himself. Now, I have to say something. If you had seen something he said, the reason why he goes off by himself, don't know if it's the time, but I would never question someone's faith in that regards. He said he goes off and he prays. And he also said he speaks in tongues, so he just gets away from people, supposedly is what he does when you see him alone. Don't know if it's the right time to do that, but the man is a strong Christian, and he says he goes off to pray. After the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, John Belushi led the Delta House to victory. Anything can happen. I love that. Pull up the stats on Tua's record versus winning teams this season. Barry Johnson just told you they suck. I mean, you can pull up. I know this one because I did it in my video earlier today or yesterday. That in the last Buffalo game, do you? I don't know if you remember, and you can go through almost all of the games. They've shut Tyreek down, completely shut him down. In the last Buffalo game, Tyreek had 56 yards, 56. Waddle, 49. And that kind of thing happened over and over and over. So you can go see it and see that these guys have been completely ineffective against the winning teams. Barry, those articles address the team's deficiencies, and yet you make it about Tua. Did I? Is that what they said? I'm pretty sure the friggin' title of this article is that there's only one way forward for the Dolphins after blah, blah, blah. Tua Tagovailoa must carry the team the rest of the way. Are you friggin' blind? Are you guys so much in love with Tua that immediately after seeing an article, Barry Jackson went through stat after stat after stat. Adam Beasley straight up comes out and says, it's on Tua. I get a comment from somebody here who says, no, it's not about that. It's You got to be kidding me. You absolutely have to be kidding me. Those articles address the teams that you're not even paying attention, which is fine. So just go back into the corner and, do what you need to do. You're saying it for a reason so these people can get off the Tua train. They won't. As you just saw from this guy Q, he just saw the article from Barry Jackson. He just saw the article from Adam Beasley. I just told you they've shut them down over the good teams have shut down Tyreek and Waddle, turned him into ineffective, almost invisible. Adam Beasley said he's unable to play well against good teams, and they come right back with a comment going, hey, I wasn't talking about Tua. Friggin' A, right he was. I'm never gonna call I'm never gonna call what do you call it? I'm not gonna call somebody trash who's a professional football player, but I am over the first read thing, and I'm gonna prove that to you tonight too. So I'm just taking some of the stuff. Please leave church out of it. Hey, I'm just telling you what Tua does. Tua says he goes off and prays, and he speaks in tongues, and that's why he sits over by himself. So, again, I'm not saying unless you're referring to somebody else in a comment. Okay. What else here? What are we talking about? Lots of holes in this team. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to argue with people. It's useless to do so, and I'm just going to tell you what has been said out here. Where's this one? Thank you, Thomas. Bills fan here. You're doing a great job being an analyst. Wish you could do this with the Buffalo Bills. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just try to be objective. And I don't know if I have my picture, but the thing I've always said over and over, it still pisses people off. Yeah, I have it here. Let me just put that up. And my thing with Tua, as with any other player, is respect when earned, criticism when deserved. And what I saw against Baltimore and what you're going to see in a second, there's a lot of criticism to put out there. And now that I see the other guys out there beginning to finally say stuff like that, it's kind of concerning to me because I never thought I would see these kind of articles from these guys. It's just become amazing to me that people are starting, and to be honest with you, I think they have felt it all along. This isn't something that just all of a sudden raises its head. This is something where you've had to be quiet. You didn't want to cause a problem. You need the clicks. You don't want people to get pissed off at you. You work for a big newspaper, the Miami Herald. You have to be careful what you say. You don't want them revoking your press credentials and not letting you in. And, so every time they post something, not every time, but when they post stuff, I ask them, what the hell are you talking about? So let me show you this stuff for a minute here. This is something that Joe Shad, he's with the Palm Beach Post. And this was Tua after the game, doing his press conference. And he said, things could be worse. We are right where we need to be as a team, regardless of the outcome. Hopefully we see these guys again. We have a trust. We have a bond. We have camaraderie. You just got your ass handed to you, man. I mean, you literally just got your ass handed to you. And, people were like, I'm telling you, don't say things like that. Things could have been worse. Worse how? How could they have been worse? You got beat 56-19. You lost your defensive edge rusher in a freak injury when he shouldn't have been on the field. You and Tyreek didn't even do anything. But don't worry about it, guys. It could have been worse. We're right where we need to be. Right where we need to be. Think about that for a second, because you're going to hear that prevailing again, too. We're right where we need to be. Can you imagine getting beat by nearly 50 points and going up to a podium and saying, we're right where we need to be? Unfortunately, none of the guys in the media go, excuse me, Mr. Tua, what the hell are you talking about? Stephen Ross has spent $1 gazillion, and you're telling me you're right where you need to be after getting blown out. Makes no sense. But then it continued. This one just drove me nuts. But it's on the heels of what Tua said. Here's Christian Wilkins, who did nothing against the Baltimore Ravens. Christian Wilkins on next week's AFC East showdown with the Bills. Quote, wouldn't have it any other way. It'll be a great test for us. Huh? And so what I said, so wait, Christian Wilkins wanted the Baltimore Ravens to beat your ass by 50 points? Because that's where you want to be? That you wanted to be in that situation. His words, wouldn't have it any other way. So you wanted to be in this position where you have to fight it out with the Buffalo Bills this Sunday. It's not me, man. I don't know if these guys need to go to media and communications remedial training 101 on what not to say. They can't be that stupid. Yes, I use this strong word like stupid. You're making quotes to the media that get blasted out to the world where people go, what the hell are they talking about? Oh, we're right where we should be. I wouldn't have it any other way. Huh? What? And then you get this one today. And I'm thinking to myself, there's something wrong with the team, with the way Mike McDaniel is handling this team. This is from Omar Kelly, and he quoted Javon Holland. It was mainly me. I was seeing things with my eyes. That's all on me because I've been out. And of course, I said, well, did you ask him how else he sees if he's not seeing with his eyes? I'm not making this shit up. These guys take these quotes down from the press conferences and they say this stuff. And they say this stuff and then they comment afterwards and now they're starting to go, whew, there's something wrong. There is really something wrong. I feel at this point they are so, I won't use the word timid. Timid might be too much of a strong word. They are too apprehensive facing the press and they don't know what to say, which to me also bodes poorly for your performance on the field. You got beat so bad, you're apprehensive in coming up with bumper stickers instead of, somebody in the room going, here's your cue card, put it down. If you watch LeBron, if you ever watch different press conferences, Steve Kerr, all kinds of coaches, and they get a question, they'll actually look down. Oh yeah, John played well tonight. He was 16 for 42, blah, 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 blah. You don't just say stupid shit. It's on me, man. I was using my eyes. Well, do you normally play defensive back like this? I don't get it. And you guys laugh at me all you want and say Barry's being an ass. And I'm like, that's his exact words. I was seeing things with my eyes. Well, I'm seeing something with my eyes. And y'all don't make no damn sense. This is right where we need to be. I wouldn't want it any other way, and I'm seeing shit with my eyes. Whew. Good luck, Mike. Good luck with this squad, if that's what you got out there. All right, so I'm telling you, I told you early, don't come and watch this one if it's not for the week, because I saw so much shit out there this week and I just could not fathom what I've been seeing. While you guys are talking to each other, Remy says, Barry, you preach facts. Would a Kirk Cousins fix this? Tua is another Tannehill. I don't know. I mean, what I'm seeing too, here's a trend that we're beginning to see in the NFL. We're seeing that teams with good systems, San Francisco, Miami Dolphins, Rams, you just need a quarterback that fits in. 49ers got really lucky. They got Brock Purdy as the last pick in the draft, ain't got to pay him diddly, still have him on a rookie contract, and he's playing extremely well. CJ Stroud, rookie contract, was in the running until he got hurt for Rookie of the Year. You're not having to pay these guys, you just plug them in. Versus, look at the guys who are getting paid huge money. Joe Burrow, he's on the bench hurt. Justin Herbert, yeah, he sucked. Deshaun friggin' Watson? Joe Flacco was watching Netflix 2 weeks ago and they give him a call and he's the GM of the Browns must be going, oh my God, we paid this guy $230 million and Joe Flacco is playing better? Danny Dimes in New York spending a whole crap load of money on Danny Dimes. He ain't doing nothing. Tommy DeVito comes in and becomes a darling of the city. Kyler Murray gets a big contract. Yes, he just did beat the Eagles, but they're, 3-10, 12, whatever they are. I think these huge contracts have become a big problem. Big problem. I think GMs are realizing, let's put the systems together and let's bring in someone who ain't going to cost us a lot of money. So that's what I don't know if you want to bring a Kirk Cousins in because he's going to cost so much money. He's older. And, at this point, the Dolphins probably aren't going to be in a position to really draft anybody, nor would they. That's the other thing. We've all heard about the psychoanalyst that Mike McDaniel had to be to make Tua comfortable that he didn't suck. I've also heard from reporters that they didn't want to bring in a quality quarterback because they didn't want him to second guess himself. You may see that change in the offseason. So, in any event, let me get to some film because I think seeing some film is really going to open your eyes. But again, if you're a huge, huge Tua fan who think the left arm of little G God does nothing wrong, this might be a problem. Do I still have my ears in? Yeah, I still have my ears in. So, another guy who's been a really big advocate for Tua, huge advocate for Tua, let me see here, is Brian Baldinger. You guys all know who Brian Baldinger is. Used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, amongst other teams, has always done breakdowns the following day. And he broke down one of Tua's interceptions. Didn't say anything negative about Tua. Didn't have to. He just showed the interception. And I've got two versions of this same play. And I want you to take a look at. So this is Baldy first. And let me just move this over. Boom.
The Ravens are a zone team. So you see Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, all eyes on.
All right. So there's a snap, and you got Patrick Queen, and you have, basically the five guys up front. Tua is not getting rushed.
Tua Tagovailoa.
He has plenty of time to throw the ball. Here's Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith is to his right. Tua right there has already locked in to where he's throwing the ball. Look at his head. He doesn't even try to look off. He looks right there.
But when Tua sets his feet,
gets ready to throw.
And he begins to motion.
And right now, if you're looking at the guy zero right there, that's Roquan Smith. He's already starting to inch over. And he's waiting for Tua to go ahead and let this ball go. He's thinking to himself right now, he ain't really going to throw this, is he? Is he really going to throw this? I can't believe he's going to throw this.
Roquan. Oh.
Look, he's already moved. He's moving. Tua still hasn't looked him off. This guy's going, he's really going to throw this at here, isn't he?
What he's doing is just follow.
Boom. And he makes his move. Look at right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. If you look at that right there as I adjust my chair, you can see that there's basically three guys converging on Tyreek. There's three guys sitting right there. Right? Okay, so.
On the eye.
Boom. There's the interception. Actually, it was four guys in that area, but those two guys had him front and back, and he's got that interception.
Steps right in front of that pass. That was a 21-13 game with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. They would go down and score before the half to blow it open 28-13.
So I just want to make sure you guys all saw this. Nobody wanted to cover today, but boom. Tua gets a snap.
On Tua right here. Tua Tagovailoa.
Looks right at Tyreek. Nobody else. Looks right at him.
So when Tua sets his feet.
And then as soon as he sets his feet and he taps the ball, Roquan knows this ball is going to get thrown. He's not going to look away. And look, he's ready to move.
Roquan.
Boom. See him starting to move? And he's fast as hell. He's like, I got this. Boom.
Steps right in front of that pass. That was a 21-13 game with 2 minutes to go in the second.
So wanted you to understand that's exactly what happened there. Now, how did that happen, Barry? How did Roquan Smith start edging over so soon? Now I'm going to show you what happened and what an all-pro linebacker does. An all-pro linebacker looks at your tendencies. An all-pro linebacker looks at you and goes, you're going to do, if you did this and did it to me, you're probably going to come back to it. So I want you to see this play, all right? So there's Roquan Smith in the big circle. There's Tua in the shotgun, and watch what happens. There's Patrick Queen. Tua gets a snap. Same exact play. He's looking right at Tyreek. Roquan Smith doesn't move fast enough, and boom. Tua this time threads the needle, and literally had to thread the needle in front of 3 guys. It worked. It worked for him. So what did Mike McDaniel do? He came right back with the exact same play later. But now you got an all-pro linebacker who goes, I know it's coming. You got an all-pro linebacker who goes, I know what you're getting ready to do. I see him over here. I see you looking at him. I know what's coming. Okay, so since I know what's coming, let me just bait you to boom. Say, oops, sorry. And there he goes. And they're already converging. That's the problem we're seeing when Tua has to play these good teams. He doesn't understand, for some reason, that these guys are so good that they remember what you did. Beat me once, shame on me. You ain't going to beat me again because I know what you're about to do. Roquan Smith went to Georgia, played with the Bears. I can't believe the Ravens somehow got him. And that whole thing is, I touched the fire, I got burned, I'm not going to do it again. And now I know, just looking at you and seeing the formation, what you're getting ready to do. And because that's what you're getting ready to do, I'm just going to come over here and take that. Okay, I'm going to take that with me. And we're going to go run for a little bit after that. And he just took it. Easy. And here's from a different angle. This is the same play from a different angle. Tua goes back, locks right in. You can see Tyreek. I swear it's almost like they baited him to throw it. He did the in break, and then Roquan just comes over. Boom, I'll take it and run. And that's it. So that one read lock on is becoming problematic with good teams. Yeah, you're going to get some hits. You're going to get some things done. But then what happens when he reacts and learns from it? When he learns that, we know what you're going to do. Now, this is the deep interception. This is the one that was close to the half. This is the deep interception. I want you to see this. All right, so when you're looking at this, the first thing I want you to look at, let me just bring it back again. Okay, so as they bring this back, before he throws it, you can see it's not the offensive line. The protection is perfect. There is nobody around Tua. Nobody. They've got everybody sealed off. There's no hurry on this throw. But he locked in. And look what happens. Do you see how many dark shirts there are around that one white shirt? Your window that you're trying to reach is extinguished. They're standing right there. You tried to sneak that into Tyreek with four guys around him. There's no way that ball should have been thrown. And then it gets tipped up to the guy for the interception. But I'm looking in this picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs or linebacker and defensive backs to 2 potential receivers. And Tua threw it in there. He just threw the damn ball. You can't do that against top-level competition. That's the kind of throw he got used to throwing against crappy teams. Hey, they can't stop this. They don't have the personnel, which is something else I told you over and over again. In order to stop the Miami Dolphins offense, you have to have the personnel to stop them. They didn't. Now every single game you play is going to have the personnel who can stop you. As you saw in the Barry Jackson article, they've got 2 safeties, Micah Hyde and Poyer, who are going to be right back there waiting. They got good linebackers. They got good edge rushers. You can't do that. So how does Mike McDaniel change everything they've been doing and picking on the little squad, the little teams, the crappy teams, and now all of a sudden all of your reactions, all of your movements, all of your timing, it has been basically, I won't use the word fraud, but you able to do that because you played against teams that couldn't compete. Now you got teams that can compete. The Bills, the Eagles, the Chiefs. And you can't do it. And they're shutting down Tyreek and Waddle when Waddle's on the field. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm showing it to you. And when you see it, you have to say to yourself, what the hell is he doing? I mean, let me just show that to you again right here. When you look at this part here, and you saw that there were, okay, here's the throw. Right there. How in the hell do you think that guy is open? How do you believe right there that Tyreek Hill is open? There are 3 guys there, and you're trying to thread the needle, and boom, you got a guy, Roquan Smith again, who's athletic enough to tip the ball, and then it goes back there. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't lock on that read. You can't be that one read guy. So now, earlier, as you saw in the press conference thing, Tua says, I can't do that anymore. I can't force it. Okay, so how do you change your habit in 6 days? How do you change your habit? And this is a problem I'm having. I've been saying it all year long. Now you have to change in basically 2 practices. That's it. You got 2 practices this week, tomorrow and Thursday. Maybe a little bit on Friday if they do a walkthrough. How do you change it? How do you change that habit you have been relying on to get you where you are right now? And then how do you change from pressing? Now your mind's going to be thinking, oh, am I pressing? Do I need to do my check down? Where's Achan? Is Durham Smythe out here? What do I do? You see how easy it can break down? Let's see here. Let me give some comments. Tua is a dual threat. He throws a touchdown or a pick. And he threw a beautiful pass. Okay, like I said, criticism and respect when deserved. He threw a beautiful pass to Tyreek. Tyreek dropped it. He threw a beautiful pass to Claypool. Claypool dropped it. I understand that. So the score, who knows what could have happened, how things would have transpired. He does have the capability of hitting people for touchdowns. But you can't force these kind of plays against the good teams. Those throwing windows are tight because teams don't respect Tua's running ability, so they can afford to play deep and play off. Tua is not the long-term solution. Exactly. You can't do that against. I'm going to show you what they did against what Lamar Jackson did as well. You can't. If I know you're slow and you're really not that mobile, and you probably can't take much of a hit, as we saw at the end of the game where he hurt his shoulder. It wasn't really a big hit, but it hurt him. If you can't do all that, and I know I can get to you, then I know I can inch back a little bit. Tyreek is a joke. You should show the first TD and understand what type of QB he is. What I'm trying to show, and you have to understand is if you want to, is that when things are basically perfect, yeah, he has a laser ability to do that. If he sees that things are where they're supposed to be, he can hit it. I'm glad you mentioned this, the first TD drive. You just underscored, without even knowing it, because you're just a Tua stan, you just underscored what I've been saying. First drive. First time I'm on the field. Okay, what are we doing today? Oh, this guy is just killing us. He's zipping in, doing everything, and he throws a touchdown, and then another one. But now I've seen it. Now I go back to the sideline, and I go back to the sideline, and I grab the iPad, and I'm going through it here, and I'm like, okay, what am I seeing? How am I seeing it? Okay, coach, what did he do when he did this and everything else? You see what I'm saying? That first time, it was a great drive. I don't really know what Mike has scripted yet. I don't know the plays that he's going to run. Oh, that caught me by surprise. Oh, I didn't see that happening. Coach, what happened? Okay, here's your iPad. See this? Make sure this doesn't happen again. Got it. When he comes back and does this is what's going to happen. Got it. You just underscored in your comment exactly what the problem is. If you let him do it, he's going to do it. He is. I'm not saying he can't make accurate throws. I'm not saying that he can't do the Samoan sniper. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you take that away, that's where the problem is. And good quality linebackers and defensive backs, you can just, I saw what he did. I just showed it to you. I just showed you where he completed a pass to Tyreek and Roquan Smith didn't get there. They tried to run the exact same play and Roquan Smith knew what was coming. These guys are too athletic, too smart, too trained, too well educated on how an offense works to let it happen over and over. So I'm glad you said what you said, because he did do very well on that first drive, but that team hadn't seen what he can do. They hadn't played him. New guys. Roquan Smith wasn't here last year. I told you that too in one of my other videos. Did you realize everybody I mentioned in my preview video of the Ravens did exactly what I said? I said Roquan Smith wasn't in that last September game. He's going to make an impact. Boom, he did. I said Zay Flowers wasn't in that last September game. He's going to make an impact. He did. I said OBJ wasn't in that last September game. He made an impact. You have to watch the film and you have to understand what you're watching to understand why things happen the way they do. So Mike McDaniel now says in basically this week, he's going to change some things up. Love to see it. Love to see what he'd do. What did people are saying? Wayne Butler. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You are the man. In my opinion, you need to be running. No, but you can do this
Come
for me.
Come on. Show some love and click that like button.
You're absolutely right. The Captain Swell, those first 15 plays, I thought even first 20, but 15 plays were scripted. After that, it's a chess match. And at that point, I need to be able to adjust. And what we've seen from Mike McDaniel is he can't adjust. It was funny. I was watching the Big O show from the link somebody sent me. He was pissed. He's like, Mike McDaniel can't make any adjustments. And what did he say? He goes, he's not a counter puncher, meaning when you get punched, you have to know where you can move to so you can deliver a blow back. He's not a counter puncher. Hey, here's my 15 to 20 plays. I'm going to run these plays, and I think they're going to work. But then when they don't, what do you do? How do you change in the second half? He didn't change at all. There were no adjustments. None. On either side. Let's see what here. McDaniel is a genius. Quick thumbs down. Okay, whatever you want. You don't have to be here. When Tua and the Dolphins beat the Bills, then just shut up and don't say anything. In order for that to happen, all I'm pointing out to you is all the things he has to change. I'm not saying I want the Bills to beat the Dolphins. I'm not saying they can't beat the Bills. I'm saying there's a lot of things that have to change. You guys think I'm condemning people. I'm saying if I was on this team, which I'm sure many of these guys have looked at this film and say, okay, we need to fix this, we need to fix that, we need to fix this. And then you got to get out there and execute. So if they execute, of course they can win. If they execute defensively, I mean, I'm going to go to that too in a minute. If they execute defensively, they can win. If they execute offensively, they can win. Absolutely. But you have to do that. And in this game, they didn't execute. So nobody, I don't think there's anybody in here who is saying that, the Dolphins can't win. Nobody's saying that. What we're saying is that there's a lot of shit to fix. And in order for them to fix it, I mean, like anybody else says, in order for you to fix something, you have to acknowledge it's broke. In order to fix your coverage, in order to fix your pass rush, which you can, but you have to acknowledge that this isn't working. And so you're going to see on Sunday what's been fixed and what's not been fixed. Me personally, as I said, I looked at the bottom line and I saw Achane had 107 yards. I'm like, why didn't you just keep giving him the ball? It was working. Why'd you get away from that? Why did he only have 8 or 9 carries? This week you'll have Mostert. I would think that you run the ball 25 or 30 times. I would run the ball as much as I possibly can to stop things like this, as somebody had mentioned, to stop linebackers dropping off and understanding you can't run, and if you can't run, we can put 6 guys back here. So understand what I'm pointing out to you. In no way am I saying they can't do it. They just have to execute. There's a big difference. Can you tell me why he stopped giving Achane a ball? Well, I guess we all can. When you get down by 30 points, you can't really run that much. So you have to throw. And then you're beholden to the defense at that point. But early in the game, when you have the ability to do so, and you're looking down and go, wow, Achane is killing it. Achane is doing really well, 15, 20 yards. I mean, he's busting these long runs. You're going to have Mostert busting these long runs. Why get away from it? Why are you trying to force the ball into Tyreek? Keep handing the damn ball off until they make you stop. Make them adjust. And I don't think enough fans understand. This isn't a winner-take-all thing or a zero-sum game where I'm saying they're going to lose. No, I'm saying there's so many things here that they have to fix. I think they're capable of fixing, but until Mike McDaniel does that, you're going to keep getting the same result. So understand that it's not one of those things, well, wait till they win, so what are you going to say then? You're going to STFU. No, I'll do the exact same thing. Hey, okay, so here's what worked, here's what didn't work. That's the whole idea behind it. So OK says it's the defense mostly. So we're at an hour here. So let me go to my last video, and it's probably going to make you kind of throw up here. Everybody wanted to know what happened with Lamar Jackson and how is he so damn taking so much time back there. So I have a play. This is actually it's what kept happening over and over. And watch what you see here. They are going to tell me if you don't recognize. I'm just going to let this play for a second. Okay, so that was Zay Flowers. Did that not look to you like the exact same play that the Miami Dolphins run all the time with Tyreek? Here comes, and you just think to yourself, okay, here comes Tyreek in jet motion. He's sprinting aside, and he turns up at the snap. And then Lamar Jackson does the play action. You've seen this so many times since September, you probably could see this play in your sleep. There's his motion, there he turns up, play action, and he's back to pass. So I got to ask you a question. Who else has seen that play so many times in their sleep? Answer, the defense. How can you be practicing every single week against Tyreek and Waddle, and they run almost like this, rub your nose in it here. They run the exact same play that the Miami Dolphins run with one twist. And this is going to blow you away if you haven't really focused on it. All right, here's Zay Flowers in motion. Here's the play action. And now he gets ready to throw. And there's nobody around him. Why is there nobody around him? I'm going to tell you why there's nobody around him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They kept 7 guys in to block. 7. Watch all the guys pull back to block. Everybody's blocking. 7 guys. You're not going to get anywhere near him. They did this all damn day. Vic Fangio never did anything about it. All day. And then, boom, he can just throw. Now, what's really bad about it is when you rewind it and you see that the linebackers here, David Long and Duke Riley, you've seen this play over and over in practice. You should know it by now, okay? And what ends up happening is they only send out 3 guys for the pass pattern. There you go. 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 guys in this pass pattern. Understand that there's 6 guys back there in the defense for Vic Fangio. There's 6 guys. And Lamar has all day, and he just tosses it. How could that possibly happen? When you saw what was going on, and you saw, hey, they're taking 7 guys to block us. Lamar's going to have all day. There's no way my secondary can cover these guys if Lamar can sit back there and bake a cake. There's just no way. Not even, it's just, look at that. Look at that pocket. I think you and I could throw a ball if we knew nobody was going to get to me. I'm seeing one guy about to get down on his ass over there where Isaiah Likely is putting him on his butt. 66 doesn't even have anybody to hit. I'm taking the play off because there's nobody here for me to hit. And then he can step into the throw. Poor Christian Wilkins is double teamed. Zach Sealer is pushed. Let me look at the line of scrimmage. It looked like Zach Sealer got nothing. Okay, there's the line of scrimmage is basically the 25. And let's see, how far does Zach get in? He gets a little bit in, but not much. And Lamar has all day to throw. Didn't adjust all game long. Why didn't you adjust? Now, here's where the problem comes in. I can see this. I'm sitting in Boca doing my little YouTube video. Sean McDermott is in Buffalo, and he's like, really? So your guys can't cover 3 receivers. So if I send out Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, James Cook, one of the 2 of my star tight ends, who's going to cover them? And you're telling me you're not going to do anything to hold me back? And then here's another part of this, which is you don't see is what happens. I mean, the guy was wide open. Obviously, we saw that touchdown. But let me just show you what happens. Everybody bails, right? What if Lamar just ran? What if Josh Allen just runs? I think at the top of your screen, this guy, David Long, is thinking about shadowing Lamar in case he does take off. You can see him just like kind of stop. But if you're going to shadow Lamar, you're going to tell me you're going to shadow Lamar, you're going to shadow Josh Allen, then I know you don't have enough guys to cover my guys, because with this amount of time to throw, they're going to go all over the field. They're going to do a wheel route. They're going to turn around. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. So why did Vic Fangio not adjust? I can't answer that. Why did he not say, all right, so we got to do something because they're putting Jalen Ramsey over here and basically not even looking his way, and they've decided they're going to cook these guys over here. They're going to make Deshaun Elliott, Eli Apple, Cater Kohu, they're little witches over here, which is exactly what you're going to see with Buffalo. That's looking at film. That's not me making something up. I just showed it to you. So, like that other lady who said, what are you going to do if they win? Well, if they win, they've probably looked at this video and go, we can't do this. We can't let him sit back there and bake a cake and pick us apart. So we're going to have to bring more pressure. If they're going to have 7 guys blocking, maybe we need to bring extra guys in. Maybe we need to blitz more, whatever. But see, that's where it's going to open up a hole, because you couldn't blitz Lamar Jackson, because if he gets by you, he's running for 20, 25 yards. Josh Allen will run for 20 or 25 yards. You see the complexity of this and how it layers and how that chess match, as Captain Swole said, how it evolves. You don't know coming in what their plan is to attack the Miami Dolphins defense. But I tell you, one of their plans right now, they know a 7-man front is going to give him all kinds of time to throw. They know Bradley Chubb won't be in the game. They know Jalen Phillips won't be in the game. They know it's full of subs at this point. Basically, their strength is their offensive line that can probably just start drooling. That's why I think this game is so incredibly hard for the Miami Dolphins to win. Can they win? Of course. Of course they can win. Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He may throw a couple interceptions. He may fumble. Who knows? But I would hate to go into any game planning the game based upon hoping somebody fumbles or throws an interception. Because that's not really planning your defense. That's a wing and a prayer. What are you going to do, Vic Fangio, to stop what they're going to be bringing to you? And on the second side of the coin, Mike McDaniel, what are you going to do to allow them to, not allow them to shut you down? Somebody earlier had said, Barry, could I show the stats? And I don't want to, I'm not doing this to basically get somebody like, a full facial on them. I want to show you that this is probably not something you've dug into. And let's go ahead and look at this just so you understand. Buffalo. Let me just go here. Open this up. So you can see I didn't make this crap up. This is the box score from the first Buffalo game. As you can see, Buffalo got ahead quickly, 31 points in the first half, and blew the Dolphins out. So Tua was 25 of 35 for 282, 4 sacks, 1 interception. Josh Allen, 21 of 25, just like Lamar Jackson was, 320, 4 touchdowns, 2 sacks. This is what I was trying to tell you. Look at what happened to Tyreek and Waddle. Hope you can see that. This is Tyreek and Waddle right here. Let me see if I can, cover that. Tyreek had three receptions for 58 yards. Waddle, who won't be here Sunday, had 4 for 46 yards. What do you do about that? What do you do when good teams shut down your receivers? And then you say, run. Okay, so Achane had 8 carries for 101 yards, but this 55-yarder is a bit deceiving. That came on one play towards the end of the game. Otherwise, he was 7 for 46 yards. They completely shut down the Miami Dolphins offense. I could go through every one of these games that they lost. I could show you the same thing. I don't want to waste your time, but trust me, Tyreek and Waddle were shut down, completely shut down. That's the problem that the Miami Dolphins face this weekend. What are you going to do to change? That's the biggest question. I think when you're watching the game, you have to look at it and go, okay, he's not getting the ball to Tyreek, or he is getting the ball to Tyreek. Who's the other receiver? Who's going to step up? Cedric Wilson, Barrios, Claypool. Who's going to step up? Somebody's going to have to step up. So let me take a couple more comments. It's a night game. There's going to be no. Actually, heat might be a factor. You might need to turn the heat on the sidelines. It might get a little chilly with the wind in there. Josh has always had his best games against the Dolphins. I'd love to see what this guy keeps saying. What you need to know is your run game is more dangerous than your pass game. That makes your offense dangerous. Very good comment. Absolutely. Run the damn ball. Let me just see this again. And this is really important what you just said. And this is pretty much what we've all been saying. You ran the ball 19 times. Look at how many times the Bills ran the ball. The Bills ran the ball 29 times. Achane, again, the problem is you were behind, so you had to cut it off. But once you get behind, it pretty much takes you away from running, and that's where the problem is with everything. It's just it compounds upon itself when it's not working, but he's not committing to the run. How come the Finns didn't get Sue? I don't know. Maybe he wasn't in shape. At this point, bodies are bodies. I don't know. We brought in JPP, and he basically hung out for a couple of weeks, and they cut him. The Bills will run the ball. Absolutely. Why wouldn't they? They're going to try to see if they can basically do the same thing that they did against the Cowboys, where they're going to, I think Josh Allen threw 15 times, had like 80 yards, and they just ran the ball down the Cowboys' throats with no Bradley Chubb up there. And only Christian Wilkins and Sealer can I don't know who you're going to, I think they're going to bring in Agba and who's in, that's an ABG, but that could get tough. The Dolphins notoriously abandon the run. Don't know why. You're absolutely right. Let's see. What? Oh, I guess you must be talking to somebody else. Vipey says we can win by controlling the game and running the ball and not letting the defense blow it. Exactly. That's what I said yesterday. I said, come out with some version of the four corners offense like North Carolina and Princeton used to do, and just run the clock. Just keep their offense off the field, run the ball, commit to the run. Run it 25. You got all these running backs. You got Raheem Mostert. You got Devon Achane. You've got Chris Brooks. You got all these running backs there. Run the damn ball. Run it 25 or 30 times. I mean, don't get yourself. And one of the things I noticed in the Baltimore game is don't get yourself in a position where you have to throw. If you get into a position where it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, 2nd and 12, where they think we're going to throw it, and so then Mike comes back. And he doesn't play a traditional game. He's doing all that zippity-doo-dah motion, which at this point people are ignoring. They already know what's happening. Oh, Tyreek's coming around. He's going to want to run a wheel route. Just make sure your defensive back and safety understand what's coming. At this point, there is no intrigue in this offense. There doesn't seem to be, and nor should there be. I mean, you're not going to find any intrigue that Buffalo's going to run. I can tell you what they're going to do. They're going to line up. They're going to give the ball to James Cook and just see if they can run it down your throat. Then they're going to, do some things with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Wilson, whatever his name is, Gabe Davis. But they're not going to rely on trickery, where everything Mike McDaniel does is try to rely on trickery, and it may work once or twice, but it's a long game. Exactly. Run the ball, throw underneath the backs and tight ends and crossers. Yeah, let Durham Smythe get 10 targets. I bet you if Durham Smythe got 10 targets, it would definitely work. We can be our own worst enemy. Yeah, absolutely. Dolphins need to play angry. If you're not angry after getting 56 points hung up on you, I don't know what to tell you. If they don't come out of the locker room with fire in their bellies, if they don't come out and saying, listen, we got embarrassed, thank God it happened on the road. I know we all watched on TV, but you don't want to have a team come into your house and just run it, just beat you like a old stepchild. You just don't want that. So this team has to rise up. Now, we've heard the quote all year long. Mike McDaniel talks about adversity builds character. Well, you got a big, old, steamy plate of adversity being served up to you. You got no Bradley Chubb. You got no Xavier Howard. You might not have Jalen Waddle. Haven't heard much on Raheem Mostert. This is time. This is when you have to go into your gut and decide, I am not going to allow you to come into my house and kick my ass. I just can't allow it. And Tua, I don't know what's going through his mind at this point. I mean, this one comment just, again, I don't want to see this from my QB1, whereas he says things could be worse. No, Tua, things can't be worse. Buffalo's coming off a 4-game win streak, 5 out of the last 6, and they've got fire because they want the AFC East Championship. Who wants the AFC East Championship more? Who wants it more at this point? That's who's going to win. The hungrier team that wants that championship is going to win. Right now, I didn't see any fire in the Miami Dolphins last weekend. None. They folded like a cheap suit. It's on Mike McDaniel to get these guys fired up. It's on Mike McDaniel to make his adjustments. It's on Vic Fangio to make his defensive adjustments. It's for each player to understand you need to be performing up here. Up here. With all these guys hurt and with everything that's happened over the last game, you got to play up here. You've only scored 18 points per game. 18 points per game against playoff caliber teams. That has to be driven into people's heads. You understand why? Because if you didn't do it against the Eagles, if you didn't do it against the Chiefs, if you barely did it against the Cowboys, and you barely did it against the Bills, and you didn't do it against the Baltimore Ravens, what makes you think you're going to score more than 18 or 19 points? Your portfolio is in front of you. Your portfolio is saying, we can't score more than 18 to 20 points against these teams. That tells Vic Fangio, you better come hard, man. You cannot rely on these guys scoring 30 to bail out the defense. You cannot rely on the offense carrying this game. You're going to have to stop Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So I've had you guys here for an hour and a half. I really, really thank you for showing up on Tua Tuesday. And despite what some people say in the comments, I do want the Dolphins to win. I just don't see it. I don't see it from everything I've watched on film. I don't see it from what the guys are saying at the podium. I don't see it from how they performed last game. But I do want them to win. I'd love to see them win an AFC East title for the first time in, like, God, forever. Would love to see it. But they're going to got to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to look in the mirror and say, I have to have more than hope. I have to have more than just loyalty. I have to see and understand you guys want this. You guys want to win. You don't want to go one and done in the playoffs. Understand if you lose this game, you may have to go to Kansas City, cold-ass Kansas City, to Arrowhead, and play them on the road. I wouldn't want to do that. Definitely wouldn't want to do that. As much as Kansas City has been struggling, I don't think Andy Reid is going to let these guys get beat by the Dolphins. But in any event, we shall see Sunday, and we shall hope for the best. Hope for the best. We'll see it very quickly. It will unfold in front of our eyes. But it's going to be a good game. So tune in here. Click the link. Oh, I don't have a link right now, but you'll see it come up Sunday at 8:05. I go live. Well, I may go live before then. Thanks for tuning in. Love the fact that you guys all showed up. Do me a favor.
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
It would really